Snipers, you have to see what's happening to the Bitcoin price this Tuesday as we are still inside of the range of 41,950 and 44,800, which isn't a surprise for those that have been monitoring the Bitcoin price over the last few days. We've really stalled out inside of this area, but with a lot of things happening outside of Bitcoin right now, we saw Activision get acquired today by Microsoft in a move by Microsoft to enter the metaverse space. And we know Sunday Swap is coming out for Cardano. We saw Cardano break out recently. Hit our target, by the way, exactly on the dot at $1.60. Notice how we reached the resistance of this parallel channel, exactly where we were predicting Cardano to go towards this 100-day moving average on the US dollar pairing. And this is all happening right now with the DXY pushing back up on Tuesday to this extremely important resistance level, which has caused the S&P 500 to come down towards its 100-day moving average. And now we're really starting to see fear come into the marketplace with traditional markets kind of slipping today. People are saying the cryptocurrency market is going to follow. But this video is going to expose the manipulation happening in the markets right now, because why is US oil breaking into new yearly highs despite this fear that's coming towards traditional markets and the cryptocurrency markets? There's obviously an interest in commodities as a hedge against traditional markets. And if the Bitcoin price truly is correlated to the S&P 500, then with the S&P 500 just breaking new all-time highs throughout the last 6 months, Bitcoin wasn't following that path. Is Bitcoin really correlated to the S&P 500, or could we say that a commodity like US oil breaking new yearly highs could be a catalyst for Bitcoin to also move further up? Well, I think that there's a lot of puzzle pieces that we have to discuss today, because there are some things in the market that are a bit concerning, like the Ethereum and Bitcoin chart right now breaking back down towards this extremely important support level. It looks like there could be a potential breakdown towards the 200-day moving average here, and that wouldn't be a good puzzle piece for the overall cryptocurrency market, because the Ethereum and Bitcoin chart, as we know, leads the other altcoins. When we factor in the altcoins outside of Ethereum, we know this chart's extremely correlated to the Ethereum and Bitcoin chart, which usually leads it. And so if Ethereum and Bitcoin starts to break down, there might be a slowdown in altcoins. But is that truly what is going to happen here over the next few days? I think that a lot of this is going to have to do with Bitcoin's price action, but also the on-chain data and the fundamentals that clearly show that there is accumulation happening at this range here between 41,950 and 44,800. We know on the hourly chart, we've seen recent spikes of institutional buy volume below the $40,000 level. Bitcoin has not breached this low since we've seen that institutional volume come in. And so I definitely think things are slowing down, but that doesn't necessarily mean Bitcoin's price has to fall. All that means is we could potentially see a slowdown in volatility in the short term, but I believe right now is a very strong area for us to be accumulating positions into Bitcoin. I think that if we start to see further downside, 38,000 is going to hold, and that would even make the markets a little bit more boring, because now we're just stair-stepping our way down, really buying time. But the opportunities in the altcoin markets could certainly still garner a lot of profits if we continue to see the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart and the altcoins outside of Ethereum perform well. And so over the next week, I think that the most important chart to watch right now is going to be this Ethereum to Bitcoin chart at 75,000 Satoshis. That's the major support level. We don't want to see a breakdown from this area. If we start to break down from 75,000 Satoshis, that would be a big concern. But I believe that at some point or another, we will see continuation to the upside for this Ethereum to Bitcoin chart if we are truly, in fact, positive with the theory that we are still in a bull market for altcoins. This certainly has to hold here at this 100-day moving average at 75,000 Satoshis. I do want to take a look at a couple of altcoin charts today on our live stream before we wrap up this video, because I know a lot of people are asking about altcoin analysis. So I'm going to be looking at the live chat here. I see we have Ethan, Bruce, Godofredo, I can't even say that name, Godofredo Medina on the live stream. Says, hi, name. Thanks for analyzing altcoins again. we'll definitely take a look at some altcoins. Post them in the live chat if you guys want me to take a look at them. Ani says, could we stay in a sideways market for a few months? That's totally on the table. We know that exchange inflow right now, when it comes to Bitcoin, we're seeing a huge outflow from exchanges. So there aren't as many Bitcoin on exchanges right now to be seeing lower prices, because that means that there's just are less Bitcoin to be sold. But of course, with low volume, if a whale comes in, pushes the price down, we could certainly have a prolonged sideways market. And I think that that would be the most bearish case for Bitcoin right now, because we truly do have a large range to the downside and upside that Bitcoin can flirt with and stay in a bullish trend in the macro. A lot of people have been saying that there's a potential Bitcoin can see about 20% downside towards this $34,000 level, maybe even a $30,000 level. And that would be about a 20% downside. That would still put Bitcoin in a macro bullish trend. And so with all of this room to the downside and upside, whales will certainly be able to manipulate the price, but we have to realize that in the macro, things are still extremely bullish fundamentally, and especially with a lot of these companies coming into the metaverse, coming into the cryptocurrency market. That right there is going to drive altcoin prices to the upside, in my opinion. And so we're in a very critical phase here. The 200-day moving average acting as a resistance for the total market cap. We have yet to break above the 200-day moving average. We're going to have a death cross here with this total market cap, but we know death crosses could typically be lagging indicators, and so we don't want to take too much seriousness with those type of indicators. But S&P 500 did slip back down to this 100-day moving average. As I mentioned from the start of this video, though, we don't have to necessarily see a correlation between the S&P 500 and Bitcoin all the time. Sometimes Bitcoin can correlate with commodities. With US oil breaking into new yearly highs, that's a very positive sign for other assets that act as a hedge in traditional markets, and the cryptocurrency market certainly being a hedge to traditional markets. That right there is a very positive puzzle piece to see US oil strong right now. I think that there's certainly a lot of manipulation going on right now with extreme fear in the markets. Now, I do want to quickly cover Cardano here. We had a very strong daily candle close here on the 17th of January, testing this 100-day moving average. And now you can see we are actually still back above $1.50. We came slightly below $1.48, which is the major support level. It looks like, based on this daily candle that we saw on the 17th of January, Cardano can still potentially see continued upside into this launch of Sunday Swap coming here on the 20th. And so if that's the case, could we also expect other altcoins to drive further up? I think that that's certainly on the table here, with Solana maintaining its 200-day moving average right now. This is a very important test here that I believe is going to hold. I think this 200-day moving average at around $140 for Solana is going to act as a short-term to mid-term support level. And I think we're going to start to see more breakouts in the altcoin markets, like what has happened to Cardano recently. And this could kind of be a little bit of a risky prediction with this Ethereum to Bitcoin chart showing weakness today. But this is short-term price action. In the macro, the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart is still bullish as long as we maintain this extremely important area here at 75,000 Satoshis. So that's why I think the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart is one of the most important charts to monitor here over the next few days. We don't want to see further slippage below that 75,000 Satoshi level. And let's see, somebody asked about looking at Matic. Matic, very bullish altcoin. Let's pull up Matic on the USDT pairing. So the same deal with the other altcoins that we've been looking at, even Matic looking even more bullish than Solana, because it hasn't even come down to test its 200-day moving average. We have this 100-day moving average sitting right around $2 at that big even. We know that the 100-day moving average has held here quite a few times for Matic. And so I think that this is kind of the storyline for most of the altcoins that are extremely bullish. When you look at Terra, for example, or you look at Solana, they are staying above their most important moving averages. And that to me is a very positive sign, despite Bitcoin being below its 200-day moving average right now. And so for something like Matic to come down towards this 100-day once again, test $2 at that big even, I think that those are the opportunities that you have to take advantage of when it comes to long positions. I know some people are shorting the market right now. I would be very careful shorting the market, especially with Bitcoin so oversold right now below its 200-day moving average. If we look at the previous death cross that Bitcoin had here earlier in the year for 2021, we had this death cross. Notice how price action didn't really slip too far further down when that death cross happened. We did see a sideways market after the death cross. We saw a lot of people get bearish about Bitcoin, but then at some point or another, we saw liquidity from institutions come back into the market, driving Bitcoin to new all-time highs. And that's why I think it's important to realize that with exchange inflows and with the amount of Bitcoin being on exchanges being so low right now, that there's very minimal sell-side pressure, I believe, in the medium term. And if we do see sideways price action, there is only really a downside scenario that could take us towards 38,000 to 34,788 before I believe institutional volume is going to eventually have to come into this market and drive price further up, especially with Bitcoin still being a very bullish asset in the macro. And so more than ever, I would say that it's important to watch the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart right now. Bitcoin certainly inside of a very important range here with 41,950 and 44,800. And as I talked about yesterday, the most likely scenario I believe right now in the short term is that Bitcoin needs to slip a little bit further below 41,950 in order for us to initiate more institutional buy orders. And we saw that happen when we slipped below 40,000 for the first time. And the more we see this institutional volume come in, the more momentum Bitcoin can build inside of this price range to then eventually see a true reversal to the upside, which of course 44,800 is going to be that major resistance that we want to conquer in order to get out of this sideways price action, get out of this bearish trend that we're in right now in the daily. And so it's going to be important to monitor Bitcoin if we come back below 41,950 to see where is the volume going to start coming in at if we start to see price action slip below this level. But you know, things are really starting to come together when it comes to the fundamentals. We're really starting to see a lot of major corporations and institutions, like even Walmart, filing patents for the metaverse and different NFT projects, showing us that 2022 should be a bullish year for the cryptocurrency market. And just because we have a rough start in Q1 doesn't mean Q2, Q3, and Q4 have to be the same. We know that interest rates might start to come up here later this year, maybe at the early start of next year. And that right now is most likely already priced into the market because the market is forward looking. And so with a lot of fear mongering happening in traditional markets, with S&P 500 slipping down to the 100-day moving average, I think that we have to realize that that's what Bitcoin is made for. It's a hedge against traditional markets. It's a hedge against inflation. And with Bitcoin down 40% from its all-time highs, this couldn't have been a better time to start dollar cost averaging long-term positions into the cryptocurrency market, especially into Bitcoin, in my opinion. And that could be proven wrong here over the next few weeks. I know a lot of people get bearish when we start to see sideways price action, but we just have to realize that's part of the market. That's how accumulation happens. And that being here in this area at 41,950 and 44,800 is a great place for Bitcoin in the short term. It does give Bitcoin a potential downside scenario to see some lower prices, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's bearish in the macro. And so even if we see a 20% drop from current price levels, we are still going to be maintaining prices above our previous all-time high from 2018 at that $19,000 level. And so therefore, we are still extremely bullish in the macro for Bitcoin, and that will not change here on the Snipers channel. I know this is a late night live stream. I want to see if we can take a couple more requests. We looked at Matic, Cardano, and I think that we actually have Shibu Inu here as well that we can actually look at really quick here as an altcoin. You can see even with SHIB, we're seeing sideways price action. We already broke out of this market structural resistance. Now we're testing the support of this channel. So we're not seeing, altcoins really falter at this point. I mean, you can see we're still above the 200-day moving average for Shibu. And so a lot of altcoins right now are doing quite well. They're moving sideways. They're not being sold off. Ethereum to Bitcoin chart, a little bit concerning today, but over the last few weeks, it's been extremely bullish. And so we cannot just take one day of price action and assume that that's it for the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart. So going to be an interesting week coming up here on the Snipers channel. And with that being said, we covered a couple altcoins. Let's see if there's any other questions here. Danny says, could you look at Polkadot? Let's pull up Polkadot to the USDT pairing, see what's going on here. So Polkadot actually quite weak here, below this 200-day moving average. So it's not as strong as some of the other altcoins, already having and experiencing a death cross. But there's actually a very clear macro support line here that could potentially be tested. It looks like there's some downside potential here for the Polkadot chart. We're not seeing much fundamental momentum in the Polkadot ecosystem. I think that it's going to take a little bit more news, a little bit more fundamentals for a coin like Polkadot to see some bullish momentum. I wouldn't be focused on the altcoins below their 200-day moving average right now as much as I would be focused on the altcoins that are either above their 200-day moving average, sitting at their 200-day moving average, or even better, staying above their 100-day moving average, because that's the most bullish altcoins, and those are the bullish trends that will follow Bitcoin. If we start to see upside, even if it's a little bit of upside in Bitcoin, that could translate into a lot more upside for some of those bullish altcoins. But a bullish altcoin is not an altcoin that's sitting below its 200-day moving average. I would say that a bullish altcoin would be something like Solana staying above its 200-day moving average. Cardano was a little bit of an odd case. I know we were below the 200-day moving average, but we knew Sunday Swap was coming out here recently, and so that's why we took a little bit more of a focus here with Cardano. And being such a large market cap, I'm personally friends with Charles Hoskinson, the founder of Cardano. I knew that this was the time to start looking at Cardano here at $1.25, and that obviously played out to the upside. I think just from $1.25 to the breakout we saw over the last few days, about 30% there. And so there's certainly opportunities in the market. If we saw a 30% upside scenario over the last few days for Cardano, why can't that happen for other altcoins? I think the altcoins that would happen to are the ones that are still extremely bullish fundamentally. And we know something like Solana, with a lot of interoperability and a large ecosystem that's growing very fast, staying above its 200-day moving average, that is all positive signs for the potential upside that is on the table here for something like Solana. So I think that with Polkadot, it's a little bit less of a bullish altcoin right now. And the same thing with Bitcoin. It's way in below its 200-day moving average right now, and that's why we're not seeing too much bullish action here. And so altcoins certainly are garnering opportunities. I would still say altcoins are bullish as long as the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart can maintain 75,000 Satoshis. If this breaks, this is probably the most important chart this week to monitor, because if we start to come down towards this 200-day moving average, that does not look like a bullish breakout, and that would actually start to invalidate some of the macro bullishness that the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart has been experiencing. And so this is going to be extremely important. And then we know that Ethereum to Bitcoin chart leads other altcoins. And so that's why I think that this is going to be the most important chart for us to monitor here over the next few days. And with that being said, our Torino says, could you look at Solana? We just took a look at Solana, and I believe that Solana is at a very good place right now, sitting at the 200-day moving average. So we're not going to go back to that chart. Let's see if there's any other requests here. I think that that's it for today. It's a late night live stream. I wanted to just make sure to get out this message that there's a lot of manipulation happening right now. And just because we're seeing some slippage here with Bitcoin, we're seeing the traditional markets fall back, that doesn't mean that Bitcoin has to see further downside. Bitcoin is certainly slowing down. The altcoin markets are still quite strong, and that tells us that at any point in time, we could be seeing some further upside here. And 41,950 still is that major support level that we have to hold here. And so with that, thank you all for tuning into the Snipers channel today. Thank you all for tuning into the live stream. I appreciate each and every one of you snipers tuning into the channel. I'll have a recorded video out tomorrow. I don't think we'll do a live stream, and then we'll do another live stream when Thursday comes around. And with that, that's it for today. Thank you all for tuning in to the Snipers channel on Tuesday. And until next time, snipers.